Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I'd like to talk to you today about how toxic our environment has become and some of the things that we can do naturally to protect ourselves and detoxify ourselves from this toxic world that we live in. Recently the Environmental Workers Group did a survey of some of the pesticides in our fruits and vegetables, and they found out that certain fruits and vegetables are extremely loaded with toxins and pesticides. For example, celery had up to 67 pesticides linked to cancer, attention deficit disorders, immune compromising effects, nervous system disorders, behavioral disorders. I mean, these pesticides are really, we must avoid. They came up with a list called the Dirty Dozen, which included celery, peaches, strawberries, blueberries, apples, cherries, grapes, collard greens, kale, spinach, lettuce, potatoes, and sweet bell peppers are the Dirty Dozen. And they also came up with a list called the Clean 15, like watermelons and avocados, and ones that don't have nearly as many pesticides and may be more safe to eat non-organically. But the Dirty Dozen are fruits and vegetables you absolutely want to eat organically. And you can look at the list of the Clean 15 on the article associated with this video and learn more about how these pesticides have infiltrated our environment in a really, really negative way, and some of the things that they actually do. So please think about, they power wash these vegetables, so you can't really clean these pesticides off your vegetables. So it's important to eat organically the best you can. But even if you do that, eat all organically, there are coal mine plumes that cover most of the United States that drop heavy metals on our fruits and vegetables. And even if they're organic, they're still going to be laced with heavy metals. The groundwater is toxic in our world. The air we breathe is extremely toxic. We simply can't get away from it. In our homes are loaded with toxins that we breathe. The dust that we breathe is loaded with fragrances that aren't even listed on the personal care products like the shampoos and perfumes and certain products we have. These are cancer-causing phthalates that are significantly toxic in our body. There's Teflons and water-resistant clothing, or when we cook our foods in Teflons, these are extremely toxic for our environment and for our health. Formaldehydes or other toxins that really are inundated in most of our homes, from cabinetry and glues that are used in our homes. Flame retardant clothes and flame retardant chemicals are everywhere in our homes. They're in our TVs, wrapping all the electrical wires. They're in the clothes we're in, the mattresses. They're just everywhere. We breathe them. They get into the dust and they infiltrate our fat cells. They infiltrate our nervous system, and not only our fat cells, but our children's fat cells. They get through the mother's milk. They actually get into the womb. In the fetus becomes affected by this, and affecting childhood diseases and attention deficit later on in life. It is dangerous, and we have to avoid these the best we can by cleaning our house as well, avoiding some of these toxic chemicals. Water bottles have these BPA's, which are really extremely toxic, and are in baby bottles and most of the containers that we eat. I mean, these household chemicals exist in cans, containers, food wraps, carpets, clothing, the personal care products, cookwares, appliances. They're in carpets, mattresses, bedding, cushions, foam paddings, everything. You can't avoid them. And they're very, very important to realize that we have to buy as clean a product as we can, and also keep our house clean from the dust that these products attach themselves to, and they enter into our bloodstream and into our fat cells. So we have to make sure that we learn how to detoxify them. I love the fact that nature made sure that we detoxify these chemicals naturally. Every spring and fall, the villi in your intestinal tract get a little bit boggy, they get a little congested from the heavy foods that we may have eaten, and nature provides bitter roots like dandelions, turmerics, gingers, milk thistles, burdock roots, things like that, naturally harvested, really roots that were in our diet 100 years ago, that clean the villi and clean and all the toxins off the intestinal villi, so the villi can function for you. And the function that they do, they detoxify and they digest. Then after the roots are harvested, the greens and the sprouts and The leafy greens come into season and they fertilize with chlorophyll the good bacteria, and the good bacteria make the villi function as detoxifying and digestive and assimilating organs, and they're really, really important. And if they're not functioning well, you're not going to detoxify well, nor will you digest well. On the outside of your intestinal wall, there are the whole lymphatic system, the gut-associated lymphatic system I talk so much about, where 80% of your immune response is basically detoxified by the berries and cherries of the spring and the pomegranates and the apples of the fall, to finish the detoxification process that nature provides by cleaning the villi with the roots, fertilizing them with the greens, and flushing the lymphatic system with the berries and the cherries and the apples and pomegranates that are seasonally appropriate. And nature made darn sure that we detoxified well. And these detox channels are digestive channels. So if you have over the years stopped eating wheat and dairy and corn and allergic foods, hard to digest foods, you don't eat greasy foods or fatty foods or digest them well anymore, and you've avoided those foods, you may have avoided the hard to digest foods and avoided a digestive weakness and symptoms, but the toxins remain. And they're in our environment, they're in the air we breathe, and we're not digesting them or detoxifying them well because our digestive system has been mitigated by modifying diet versus fixing the problem. And that's where we at LifeSpa really are dedicated to not only detoxifying you, but really revamping the digestive function and the detoxifying channel so you can get the job done properly and not just mitigate the nutrient and modify the diet some so you don't have any symptoms, but really make sure, and then over the years we're still accumulating toxins in our fat cells. We have a cleanse called the Short Home Cleanse. It's a completely free detox. You can go online, read about it. It's a 4-day fat toxin detox that's extremely effective, and that's something you can do anytime you want. Like I said, it's free. Go online. Please check that out. We have a longer detox called Panchakarma. It's an in-residence program here at our LifeSpa in Boulder, and that has been studied to detoxify 14 of the major cancer-causing chemicals out of your fat cells and continue to detoxify those for 3 months after the cleanse. So that's a powerful way, a documented way to make sure these fat cells get flushed and cleaned and detoxify them. And we also have a cleanse that we do twice a year called the Colorado Cleanse. This is a cleanse where I cleanse with you. I send emails out every night. It's a 2-week cleanse. Every night you get an email from me. There's 4 conference calls. There's an online forum. There's a book called the Colorado Cleanse book that guides you through the entire process, and we cleanse together as a group. It's an amazing experience to cleanse with a large group. You have this support system. It's just a wonderful, exciting process that we all go through at our clinic twice a year. Please join us, cleanse with us, and enjoy this process. The best part about that cleanse is that we not only do we detox, we prepare the body to detox well. The worst thing we want to have happen is we take the toxins from the fat cells and move them from one fat cell to another, or move it from our fat cells into our brain tissue, where we actually see a lot of heavy metals now today in studies. People are having toxicity in their brain because of our toxic world, because of a detox and digestive process and system that broke down 10, 20 years ago. This is unacceptable. We have to reboot and re-strengthen our digestive system. So in the Colorado Cleanse, we turn the digestive fire back on. We destagnate your lymphatic system. We heal the villi, detoxify and cleanse the liver and the bile flow so it functions well. And then once we've prepared the body to detox well, then we detoxify the fat cells and leave you not only cleansed, but able to continue to detox as the months and the weeks go on after the cleanse. And that's really important, is to finish the cleanse feeling digestively able to detoxify. Your diet has been adjusted, modified, your cravings have changed, and you're feeling really ready to eat a healthier diet because that's something that you prefer, and you don't finish the cleanse craving really heavy, yucky foods and foods that will just retoxify you. So please check out the Colorado Cleanse, check out the Short Home Cleanse, learn how nature did that. I talk about that in my book, The 3-Season Diet. Please, twice a year, don't let the seasons go by without taking advantage of getting rid of these fat-soluble chemicals that inundate our environment. It's unacceptable. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.